Well, here it is, you guys. In my car, and I'm leaving work. It is very raining out, and this is actually an idea that comes from Mr. Holster. Mr. Holster said maybe show a little bit of clips of Hawaii and all that in the radio show. So if you do like it, let me know in the comment, click like the video, and we'll do this. We'll show little clips of what the town looks like, maybe do some random stuff here and there, and we'll try to include it in the JW's radio here on Saturday. As you can see, the wild traffic of Friday afternoon. Anyway, I know some of you like the rain, so why not show some of the rain? Anyway, let's get on with the radio show. It's a long one this week. What's up, everybody? It's Saturday morning, and you know what time it is. It's JW's Radio. Thanks for tuning in. I know we got a lot of people that have been watching, and that's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing that many people that tune in and watch it. Remember when we first started doing these, you know, one or two people would tune in, but now we got quite an audience for it, and that's really cool. And we got some news, we got some stuff that's been going on, we got some fun things to talk about. Anyway, earlier on this week, got my coffee here. Man, we got a lot of stuff on the table this time around. Alright, had to get a new coffee mug because I couldn't put the John Wayne one I got in the microwave because it's got metal lining in it. And that used to drive me nuts because as I'd like to warm up the coffee a little hotter sometimes. Okay, so of course it sits around in the machine for a little while all morning, and then the machine turns itself off, and then it starts to cool down. Alright, so early on this week, what we did, we talked about it a few times, I think in the last show as well, with the ThruNite TI4 pen light. We did do the torture test during this week, and that went over really well, to be honest with you. I thought, wow, that was what we put this thing through, dropping it down the stairs constantly. I think we smashed it on some wood and everything, put it between two 2x4s and dropped one directly in the center just to see if the body could take it. And actually what I didn't mention in the video, which I should have, was when I took this thing out and took the batteries out of it, it must have hit really hard because one of the batteries, the end kind of crushed in a little bit. So I think that was a direct hit on one of the straight ends, either on the lens or on the button. And that's the other thing, you know, the lens, it took a beating, everything. We dropped it in the mud, stepped on it, figured we'd change it up a little bit, and of course, always want to add something fun in there, something dramatic, and in that case we put some black powder in there and made it look like we blew it up. But we just add that in for fun. Just for fun. Check out that video on the ThruNite flashlight. They were cool people. They sent that along for us to do, and I like doing that kind of stuff because it changes up the things on the channel. It gives the channel a little bit of variety. I try to do that. You know, maybe it seems a little biased, but I try to incorporate a lot of variety on the channel, as well as you saw. Hopefully you saw it. Yesterday was what? Friday the 13th, okay? So, and hopefully you checked out Mr. Holster's Sock Show, the 13th episode on Friday the 13th. How about that? No, and that's why I did the video It was kind of like a horror movie special I did for Friday the 13th. I'm a big horror movie fan. And mainly that's because the horror movies have a big part of my childhood, you could say. I grew up loving horror movies. Always, I used to watch this show on, I think it was called, it was on TNT. It was Joe Bob Briggs' monster movie special or something. Some of you probably remember that, or if you watched it, if you liked horror movies. But it was on at night, and I just always remember the science tubes, the glass tubes, and then the thing going all the way through it, and then he would pop on, Joe Bob Briggs, hey, monster, and he'd talk about some stuff. And one of the ones that I remember distinctively was The People Under the Stairs. It's a movie directed by Wes Craven. Unfortunately, Wes Craven has passed away, but that movie was really awesome. It is awesome. I enjoy watching it, and I'm talking about it. It just, and then seeing it on TV. And then I would, of course, this is the time where you go into Blockbuster, or down here in town we had Dr. Video, as I mentioned in the Friday the 13th special, if you like all the hearing about that kind of stuff. We had Dr. Video, Video Showplace, Blockbuster. We had one down south of here called Scott's Videos. That was another cool little place. There was one in the town of Canaleo, and there was a little video store there as well. So there was quite a few of these video stores everywhere. And in fact, I'm also missing one at Seaview Circle. There's a place right out of town here too. There was a small little video rental store there as well. And this was all VHS. This is all VHS stuff. DVD really wasn't in yet. Excuse me, too much coffee. DVD wasn't really in yet. So I would go around and, trying to get all these movies, and not just the horror movies either. I remember trying to find a movie, The Mechanic, with Charles Bronson. And now the collector in me, this is the fun part, was the box, the cover art, the sleeve that went over the tape meant a lot to me, what it had on it. I couldn't just have the movie. It'd have to be the oldest looking, cover art on it. It had to be the vintage cover art. And I distinctively also remember trying to find Taxi Driver, the Robert De Niro movie, on VHS, and wanting the cover art that I saw in the video store, where it's got his taxi cab in the back. It's got a big picture of his, like a profile picture of his head, and a hand with the gun holding it. It was a really cool artwork, and it was total vintage 70s kind of artwork. Anyway, so that stuff like that always caught my eye, and then the labels on the VHS tape itself, and I actually got to the point where I was opening those things up, popping them open and fixing them if something went wrong, if the tape got off track and wound itself in there, and adjusting little bars for the tracking of the tape and all that kind of stuff. So in a sense, I kind of was like really into this VHS stuff. So that is, and the horror movies played a big part of that. So that's kind of where all that leans to. And I think as we get older, regardless of what it is, regardless if it's old VHS tapes and horror movies and movies, which a lot of that is for me, or whatever, as silly as it could be, anything, I think as we get older, for a lot of us, we chase after that because it's a fond memory of youth. It's when we were doing something, and really it was just not really worrying about all these other things here, my job, paying rent, putting gas, all that kind of stuff. It was just like, you didn't need to worry about all that. The only thing you worried about was this thing that I wanted to get, be it a toy or something you thought was cool. That's what you want. That's what you wanted. So anyway, that leads us to this story that is like for my dad, and my dad shared it with me. And when my dad grew up, some of you probably already recognize this, and I know a lot of you older gentlemen that are viewing my channel, already. This is a Mattel shoot and shell. It's unloaded. Believe it or not, this is a toy. from the 60s, I believe. That's when my dad remembered it. This is a Mattel shoot and shell. What does it say on it? It says shoot and shell snub nose 38. So if you back then you wanted to be Dick Tracy or something, this is it. So this is really neat. Now how the shoot and shell worked was there's a brass casing. It has a spring in it. You click onto the top this plastic bullet that had little. It looked kind of like this. It had little arms and it went into the shell, and that was what pushed the spring down. It clicked into place. On the back was flat, and you put a little thing called a greenie stickum cap on there. And it's not like the caps that you kind of go to see today. In fact, now I don't even see those. I bought so many of them when I was just a little youngster running around with Grandpa and popping smoke in the backyard with the cap guns. They're like double the thickness of gunpowder in that little blister pack. You put that on the back, put it in this gun. And it's interesting is because now that I got older and more into guns, I understand, it's like, wow, this is interesting because this is like a take on a cowboy western gun on a modern, type of snub-nosed 38. It's interesting because you actually open the loading gate on this thing. You're like, well, isn't that how a single action works? That's for me now. But anyway, it turns and you load these little shells in there. You turn. I did a video on my other channel on this, and some joker actually was like, oh, you can convert that to shoot real bullets, it's so dangerous. Anyway, I'm glad somebody else commented on that and corrected this person that really doesn't know anything. Anyway, so this was part of his childhood. So he went on eBay and went and got a bunch of these. He had a couple of these. I got this one. He had the Derringer that went on the belt buckle, and it would pop open and go off, and it shot the same shells as that. And he had a couple other ones that were different. A Nichols Derringer, that was the other one he had, a Nichols Derringer. That was a really interesting way that bullet worked in that, because that was like a shell cup, and then the bullet, the plastic little pellet, fit into its own little cup. And then so that the bullet went into a cup, and then on the bottom cup, the shell, I'm referring to it as a cup, you put the greenie stickum cap in there, and then that fit over it. So you had this bigger. It was like cup, and bullet. So all of it, put together. You had a little hole in it, so when the bullet or the stickum cap was crushed, it would force anything through that hole through it, and then project that bullet out, that little plastic pellet. And that was just a little over and under, Derringer, made by the Nichols company. I think that's who made it. And we had one of those. We played. So he went and bought all this stuff, and we were playing with it all. We opened it up and played with it. We went in the yard and started shooting around with these things. And it was, for him, it was like sharing something with me that he grew up with, and I'm really happy for this because this was a really cool memory. And and also for him, it was like, this is something he had, and there's a little kid in all of us, no matter how old we get. There's always going to be that moment. So it's just something that stuck around with me. I'll do a separate video on this, and I'll show it on the channel, so that will come up. And it's old. This thing is really beat up. The cylinder is like plastic, so it turned yellow. The rest of it's cast iron or something, or cast pot metal, whatever, and it's missing a lot of the nickeling that it used to have. It's real beat up, but it's more or less just something I remember, and that's why I got it. Still have it right here. Of course, I don't have any shells for it. Okay, but that leads me to this. So if you understand the concept of all that, hopefully you do, as I got older, or into guns and everything, I started realizing there's a product on the market, and it's basically by this company called the Cowboy Fast Draw Association. Kind of like this hat that I wear a lot in the videos. Anyway, the Cowboy Fast Draw guys, obviously what they do is they draw the gun up and bang, and to do that with live ammo is rather dangerous. So what they devised is a shell, let's open this one, because this one has a cardboard on the top of it. They've devised a shell that is just a regular caliber shell of whatever. I got 45 Colt and 38 Special, and they bored out the back and put a bigger flash hole in there. The flash hole is what the primer projects its sparks and force into to ignite the powder in a bullet. So what they've done is enlarged that and drilled out the back just a little bit, so that when you put a primer in there, you don't need any tools. You just kind of drop it in there and let gravity hold it in. It sounds like a pain in the butt, but it really isn't. It works rather well. And on the other end, you insert this little wax bullet, and you can buy a whole bag of them for, like, I think 1,000 of them for $20, $25, something like that. Anyway, so I know, because like I know some people, what they do is they get a cookie tray, they melt a bunch of paraffin wax in it, take their brass and sit there and do that. My thing about that is time, consistency, and I mean, I guess you still got to go out and buy paraffin wax. And I saw videos of guys like saying, well, you got to do this part paraffin wax, add a little axle grease and all this stuff, and it's like $25, and I can buy a whole bunch of pre-made plugs from the Cowboy Fast Draw Association and not even worry about all that. And it's consistent. Anyway, so wax little plug goes in there. No gunpowder. You can, I have done it, that what they do is they put a small bit of black powder in there. It's rather nasty on the gun. The only thing you really get out of it is a big puff of smoke for effects. It's neat. I've done it a few times, but in the end, I just don't like cleaning the gun that much. With that, it's very dirty. It's very nasty on the gun, and it causes the thing to jam up quick in the barrel because the barrel's getting so battered up. Anyway, so no gunpowder. You just put the little, these are large pistol primers, put it in the back, and bang. You can shoot this in your backyard. I usually recommend outdoors because the primer does produce some smoke inside, and it is, it does have lead particles in there, so you don't want to be breathing in all that. But they also make, their other one that they make accepts a 209 shotgun primer, a shotgun shell primer. That's a little bit bigger, it's got more force in it, but they do say that you gotta, that's my very first video with this stuff, that's what I had. You gotta be careful, because if you buy the wrong one, you, it will back out. The little button in the middle will back out, the primer. It will back out of its cup. And so the ones I had out here were Winchesters. So it's like we don't have the luxury to be able to order stuff online and get it to the front door. If we did, I mean, it might be a different story. But they're louder. They do project the wax harder. But the large pistol primers works great. Not too loud. Does enough damage. You can shake up full soda pop cans and bust them open with these things with the large pistol primer. No problem at all. But anyway, what I'm trying to get at is this is kind of a connection to the old toys, So I know, I mean, this looks pretty darn real, So you got to remember in this case too, if you're going to venture into this, you are out there with your actual firearm. So hence getting my little 38 Smith & Wesson pre-model 10 and loading it up with 38 Special. That was really neat to do, because it was kind of like bringing back this memory. So anyway, as they use it for the fast draw, on the note that it could be used as a tool, is I've learned how to point shoot. You take your 6-gun and point shoot, without actually aiming. You're just kind of and then also aerial shooting, because it's too dangerous to shoot live bullets in the air, because some people just don't understand that what goes up must come down. And if you're shooting big chunks of lead in the air and it's going up hundreds and hundreds of feet and it's falling with all that weight and mass, physics, okay? I was not a fan of certain classes in school, but physics definitely interests me. Okay, all right, enough joking around. We've got some, these have shown up a couple of times in the videos. They're little Batcheck JW targets I made up, and they have a little red dot in the middle. This kind of gets started from a fellow YouTuber, my Hollow Point, has talked to me, or when I got my pump action 22 rifle, it's a Rossi 62. I was watching a lot of his videos he's got a couple of them, and he was talking about the story when he was younger, saying that in the carnival they used to back up a van and they put this piece of paper with a red dot in it, and you had one shot, and it was like $1 for a shot, and you had to knock the red dot out and you would win these, like he said, they were really nice, clocks and things like that. So that kind of a carnival, feeling, just I love that kind of stuff. So as he was telling the story, that's what kind of intrigued me to do this, So I kind of popped these out. They've shown up here and there in the videos and whatnot. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, which I did want to do this, I just got to get something, look around for something cool to include as a giveaway, a small giveaway in these radio shows. It won't be one this time, but I'll try to incorporate it. I can't guarantee you there'll be one every time, as we run on a shoestring budget. But question to you all is if you would actually enjoy having something from the videos. Basically what I'm trying to get at is an artifact from the Batjack JW videos, if that means anything to you. Like for my main giveaway, my first giveaway that I ever did, really, up to this point, we took a reproduction hunted knife that was from the movie and everything like that. So we went out and used it, hacked down some trees and whatnot. And I figured out, I thought it was kind of a cool idea because I think it's cool. I would want to do that. I would want something from that and give it away. The actual something from an artifact from the videos. So of course I wanted to put in a couple other things so it's not just like a somebody getting a beat up old knife, really. But if it means anything to you, that if you want an artifact from the videos, we could try to figure. I mean, there's some that are still lingering around that we haven't thrown away. Obviously, it needs to fit in a flat rate box and all that. So, but one of the things I got here is this showed up in a video some time back. It's disappointments. We are actually down at the supermarket, way down in the touristy area of town, the more expensive area, and I was in there and we saw this and it had a picture of Obama on it and it said, "This has changed, disappointments," and it's a mint container. I just had to buy this because I couldn't believe they're selling this out there. But we did a video on it. You can check it out on the channel, look for it. It's I think the video is called Disappointments, really, and it's on there. But this is the tin from there, and I just, as an example, like just not necessarily maybe this. I mean, unless you want it or something, but we could do a giveaway and include something like that. As part of the giveaway, maybe perhaps as owning an artifact from the video. Like again, if that even means anything to you. If not, we'll just scrap the idea. But I thought. The only reason I'm throwing it out is because I think that'd be cool. Like, a good friend of mine on here, he makes a lot of videos, a big fan of his, is The Gun Enthusiast. He's a really cool dude. Check out his channel. He does these backyard tests. You go out and buy a machete or something, or a knife from like Walmart or wherever. He's always finding super deals. In fact, he's the reason why I bought my Kershaw filter. But he would do these tests, and man, they were like super cool. And if he were to like offer up, like, hey, you want the machete from the thing, I think it would be neat because it would be like, man, that's something he used in his videos. So that's the only reason I'm throwing that out there, because I think it would be neat. So not necessarily you would think it's neat, you probably think it's stupid, but I just figured I'd throw it out there. Alright, so also during this week, and you'll be seeing the making of video. It's a short video. But I know, in a way, I hope nobody got mad at me for, in a way it's kind of a troll. Shooting hand grenades. No, this is a paperweight. I'm not, Russ Elder actually was like, he commented on the very first video and he said, "Thought you lost your mind," or something like that. The comment was, "No, not yet, Russ." No, we had fun doing that. That was something that I saw. We was down at Sports Authority and we saw these Tipman, I think that's what it was called, the Tipman water, or no, it's not water, a paintball grenade, and basically it's like a giant water balloon. It had the spoon and all that, and you guys know I'm kind of fascinated with hand grenades. They're kind of neat to me, you know. Of course, the ones that don't blow up, but there was something neat about it. So I was like, you know, I had this idea right when I saw it. I said, wow, what if we shoot one of those things? I wonder what it would do, because I definitely did not want to pull the pin and just let it swirl around and probably soak me in paint. Maybe we'll do that one day. Maybe we'll see what it really does if you use it correctly. We'll go down and buy another one. But no, I wanted to shoot it, so we did. And I thought, what a cool idea if it would be if you just named it, like, you know, shooting hand grenades. It was like somebody would think, what? Is this guy serious? You know, so it made it for a fun video. And we did, you know, it kind of did it in a couple parts. We filmed it, and there was a lot of things we were going to go back and reshoot, and, you know, it almost felt like we were overthinking it. So in the end result, what you guys saw in those two videos is pretty much just what we shot. You know, we didn't really get into it too much, you know, so it was just we thought we're overthinking this. And for me, like my channel, I like to just, you know, turn the camera on and let's go. We don't write a script, we don't, nothing. It just comes right off the top of my head. It's just whatever, like, okay, I mean, we have a general idea. Like, we go, oh, well, you know, we're going to be doing a video on this, and, you know, like these radio shows, I figure, okay, we're going to talk about this, we're going to talk about that, and you just set it aside. But I don't actually write out anything like what we're going to say. We just turn on the camera and it's going. We're doing it. My friend that films me a lot, we usually go over to his coffee land and do it. He actually was very, like, the very first time he filmed a video for me, I just said, all you have to do is press record, follow me around. I don't like, you know, it's hard to explain to somebody, don't zoom in and do all, and then the camera and making everybody sick. I'm very one that, like, if I watch a movie where it's all handheld doing this, like, Blair Witch Project stuff, it's like I'm, like, ready to throw up halfway through it. I'm not even 15 minutes into the movie. So I try not to do that. I try to just tell them, you know, just easy, slow, you know, nice, good, tight shots of the guns and stuff like that. So anyway, but he was like really surprised. He's like, man, you just come up with that right off the cuff? And I'm like, yeah. I mean, this stuff is, I want to keep it real. My whole point is backyard kind of woods kind of thing, you know. Let's just keep it real. You know, want to make this thing like, you know, we're not talking about high production and stuff. We're just like, you know, I think that's what is so neat about it, is we just let it roll. So anyway, a couple of things I wanted to start doing, you'll see it coming up here soon, is the behind the scenes stuff. If that's kind of interesting. I always loved watching the behind the scenes stuff on videos and whatnot, and always thought, man, it's elaborate how they make it. It's not really. Anyway, so we just, a couple of moments there, we let the camera roll behind the scenes. It's kind of like the aftermath videos of the Glock versus and stuff like that. Mostly I really wanted to show that because it was such a mess. I might as well get the footage anyway because it was that was a disaster making those movies or those videos. But you'll see behind the scenes of the grenade shooting video, where you can see us setting up the range and all that kind of stuff. Just gives you a little bit of, you know, more of the, maybe the human aspect of it, as we try to involve that in the main videos anyway. You'll see the behind the scenes on the grenade shoot and the guacamole. For the Cinco de Mayo celebration, we did the guacamole. We put a Glock into guacamole. And you'll see the behind the scenes footage, a little bit of extras of us setting that shot up and everything like that. Hopefully you enjoy it. That'll be coming up soon. We'll just let everything soak in. But if you haven't seen the initial video, go check it out. I know it's hard to keep up with as many videos as the channel keeps going, but the reason for that is I've always enjoyed, one of my favorite YouTubers is actually Not a Gun Channel. He's like a daily vlogger, and they just kind of do silly stuff, and every now and then they prank each other or something like that, and they do upload every day, and it's so fun to wake up and go, what are they doing now? What are they doing now? So, and also it's very fun for me to turn on the camera and do stuff. So we're gonna close it up here pretty quick, and one thing I want to leave you with on a note is something that I make sure I keep in check, and I definitely don't have the problem with it, but there are some people out there, and they have such an ego that they don't even realize it, or maybe they do. The way they come across to people, the way they talk, and the reason I'm bringing this up is this actually recently happened at my job, and it's just like this person they're really into mixed martial arts and stuff like that and all this, but I don't like the people that have they maybe, it's like they've accomplished so much in it, they've know so much about it or whatever, and they get to that level and they're so like oh yeah, you better bow down to me because I know this and I know that and I can do this and I can do that, and it's like they become very condescending. And rather, if they realize it, or maybe they do and they're just doing it on purpose because they just want to be that way, I really don't like those type of things, those type of people, because I don't like to, it's never been me to talk down to anybody. I mean, it's like, that's why, like, in my YouTube channel, it's like, I don't know everything, but I know a couple of things. I picked up some things here and there, and really that's by me either screwing up or getting ripped off or whatever, and I'm more than happy to share it. And I don't want to, it's like somebody asks me legitimately, hey, how do you do this? And if I know, I'm going to be like, yeah, this is it. A lot of my questions come from me making my my aged ivory grips. They keep asking me these. It's not I'm trying to shine them on or anything, but it's really not that elaborate. It's like, the color is just what it is. You mix up the colors, you pour it into the mold, and you kind of go, well, I hope it turns out. Each one, that's what's so unique about it. Each one is different. Each one is going to look differently, so as far as sanding and polishing it, I use car wax in the end, but work yourself down, work you start with 180, 220, 320, 400, 600, 1500, and I'm talking about sandpaper, and just taking it down. In the end, polish it up with a little bit of car wax. Flitz works, Flitz metal polish, that works too. But somebody actually mentioned that. Somebody actually messaged me that they did make their own grips, and they said, hey, I had to sand them, but they don't have the shine that they used to. I said, hey, try some car wax. I'm not holding any secrets. I'm not Mr. like, man, I'm the only guy that knows how to do this, so I'm not gonna, tell you how to do it. Just that whole ego thing. The whole ego trip just does not, I just don't buy it. I don't like it. So I don't have that problem. And I'm sorry if I ever came across that way in any of these videos, but I just don't. I'm willing to share everything and everything. I want people to feel that they come to this channel, they can see what on the camera, everything. I'm a down-to-earth person. I don't, there are things that I have a zero tolerance for. I just don't put up with, negative comments, any kind of discrimination, direct, anything like that. If you're just basically posting stuff that has no positive impact on the gun community, let alone on a positive gun video, you're definitely out. I'm just deleting the comment because it serves no purpose other than to make us, the rightful gun owners and the gun community that are trying to defend our rights, look bad. And I don't need you on my videos, that's for sure. So, anyway, wrapping it up, that's Saturday's JW's Radio. I know it's getting rather long, but thank you for sticking with it. Thank you for tuning in. Like, share, and subscribe. Tune in next Saturday for another JW's Radio. Look at this rain, I tell you, nothing but rain. This is the other side of town, and over here to the left you have Sports Authority and some restaurants. And here we are coming up to the infamous Queen K Highway, and that is Queen K is pronounced Queen Ka'amanu, I believe. I could be saying that wrong. I am on my way home and gonna go back out tonight for dinner. Anyway, those of you guys, I appreciate it. I thank you for making it to the end of the radio show. I appreciate everybody that tunes in and watches. It has been a great deal of fun making them, and I know that these last couple have been kind of long. Running over half an hour. But let me know your feedback. What do you think on that? I know somebody had mentioned, it was a little bit long, so we can always shorten it. Sometimes you get to rambling and it just kind of gets going. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bat Check JW, signing off.